Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ferdbird the Nerd with another video game market report for you. I'm a little dusty. I've been working out on this new basement office of mine, so I do apologize that there's a little bit of an echo. But yeah, I just wanted to do another video game market report for this week. We are seeing a lot of different prices for the video game collecting market. A lot of it, I think the biggest foundation with video games lately is the playability of the game, the popularity of the game. Rarity is obviously like one to look into with all collectibles, but I have some pretty interesting ones to show off today. And just looking at the prices, there's some pretty good deals. I guess you can find there if you're an actual collector versus an investor like myself. Or I mean, I'm kind of both, but there's definitely, I always try and do a deal where you can find potential flips and make some money to add to your collection or go after that grail that you've been looking for. But I add a couple consoles at the end of this. We only have 8 slides today, so nothing too crazy. But again, I just want to thank everyone for their support. Almost 770 subscribers as of today. That's almost a jump of 100 in the past week and a half or so. So if you guys do me a favor, just takes about 2 seconds. Click that like button for me. Subscribe. Tell your friends all about the show. I'll do these reports every week until no one wants to see them anymore. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, like I said, this week has been, kind of not too crazy stuff. Definitely, like I always try to include like a flip. Looked at CGC's pricing this week versus VGA or any of the other ones, but I'll try and do that a little more with VGA. I think that's the go-to. I think I'm going to look for in regards to an alternative to CGC. But for right now, we're just looking at CGC grading prices. They seem to be the one grading company that's the cheapest and the quickest turnaround. I will definitely try out VGA for like a console or something like fairly soon here, but like I said, we'll just stick with CGC for now. And first off, without further ado, one of my favorite games ever growing up as a kid. And you cannot see that. Hold on one second. All right, let's do this one more time. Present. Always does that to me when I'm like leaving. Donkey Kong Country, my favorite Donkey Kong game of all time. This, I mean, as far as just like hours and playing and frustration, those damn little bees you can see at the top there. Oh my gosh, I could almost like feel them hitting me. But again, it's my favorite Donkey Kong game of all time on Super Nintendo. The graphics were insane for this game. The artwork is amazing. I think this presents really well too as a collectible. You're gonna find this $100 to $125 for CIB. I didn't find that many sealed copies of this game, but definitely if you're trying to buy the CIB, 100 to 125 bucks, you want a really high grade. What I mean by that is you're gonna have to have the cardboard include everything. It's gonna have to be really pristine. If you need to press it, it's probably not worth it to buy in CIB. I'd rather, if you want a high grade 9.0, I'd rather just buy one outright and not risk the the grading fee and the cost of doing that. But I thought 100 to 125 bucks was pretty expensive in my honest opinion. It's a tough flip, but if you're collecting, I think it's a great presentation. Everyone knows what this game is. The Diddy Kong part, Diddy Kong shows up in this one, but the second one is the more collectible one because it's a little bit more rare. But regardless, Donkey Kong Country from the Super Nintendo, not too bad. And this is my flip of the week. I would say Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, you guys, I love this game. It's my favorite game of all time. I'm an old school person. I think I like the old school version better, but I do like the graphics in this and how it shows just the detail on either PS4 or PS5. I'm playing on PS5 right now, but it's the PS4 version. But it's a tough high grade, to be honest. But if you can find this game for like 20 to 30 bucks sealed and it's not loose, a 961 for 146 last week. So if you do the math, 20 plus about 30 bucks in grading fee, let's say you're 60 bucks out the door, with taxes and everything after that. 80 to 100 bucks on a flip and then add that to like, a grail, like if you're looking for a Donkey Kong at 9.0, I think it's, no risk and no biscuit, but I think it's not a bad idea to do that. And, PS4 games are just going to get more rare as time goes on, especially sealed ones. Maybe you take that PS4 9.6 and send it over to VGA and try and get a 90, 95. But it's a new enough game where you can get like a pretty solid deal on it. And it's old enough to where 9.6s go for quite a bit. And now, again, this is CGC, so just take that with a great of salt there. If you prefer VGA, then, go VGA. But 146 for 9.6 last week. That's your flip of the week, everyone. Tamashi, I have no idea what this game is at all. I found out about it a couple of days ago, but regardless, this so you can buy this game like on the PlayStation Store for like 20 bucks. Um, I hear that it's, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned, like what really helps with the value of these video games. It's the popularity of the playability of the game. Maybe you found out about it after the fact, like, just like cult classics are going to be perfect collectibles and going to hold retain value, especially if you can download it further down the road. Supposedly there's only 90 physical copies of this. I don't know how to confirm that. I found this on an article here by Video Games Usage, and yeah, supposedly. And then see, there's arguments it might be 500 to 1,000. I would probably lean towards that more so than just 90 being made because it's a PS4 game, right? And it's made by Sony. I don't know. I mean, even 40,000 is a very low number. So you got to think that if there's not only like, let's say there's only 25,000, there's probably not a lot of these guys sealed, but $1,000 asking for this game just purely on the rarity of it, without knowing too much about this game, I probably would prefer, I would caution people not to buy that. But if I knew more about the actual print run, some way to confirm it, I would probably be like, okay, that's fair. I personally am not vested in this. There's no option use to this. I don't know what else would bring this into just more info, I guess. But Tamashi for the PS4, super rare game, and evidently it's very playable as well. So good luck. And just with my comic book background on doing comic books, I wanted to find something kind of alternative to collect for Deadpool, and I found a Deadpool PS3. I had no idea there was a PS3 video game, but I think this also is on Xbox as well. I picked PS3 just because PS3 is the way to go, kind of, obviously. But $100 for a sealed copy, not bad. I think if I was a collector, I would definitely, sway more to a sealed copy and getting that graded by either CGC or VGA. But $100, I honestly don't think it's too bad for a PS3 game. I think PS3 you're starting to see those sealed copies go for a little bit more than usual. So the market is maybe gravitating a little more. Maybe PS2's games aren't very easy to attain sealed, or maybe that generation is just starting to come up with some money. I had a PS3, I think in college actually, or maybe post college. So that's almost 15 years ago. So yeah, I mean, I think a kid that was 15, 15 years ago, they're 30. So kind of, hitting that range of nostalgia, and especially with Deadpool being such a focal point of just Americana and pop culture right now. I don't know. I think people are going to seek out other collectibles that coincide with Deadpool as well. So, I mean, if you're paying $100 for a sealed copy of this and you get like a 9.6 or a 9.4, which is possible on a PS3, just wipe it down with some, with a cloth and a terry cloth and some Windex, that's going to be a $500 game eventually. So anyway, this is definitely like a whole type investment as well, but it's a great cover too. So if you're a cover lover, I think it's a good one. This was kind of a cool one, again, still staying in this PS3 kind of fandom, but it's the Orange Box featuring specifically Half-Life 2. Now, there was an array of games on this particular disc, and there's a bunch of different games on this. It's like, and there's 5 different games. This was released on October 12th of 2010. So I don't know. I think this is like one of your CIB dip kind of guys. Like if you find this in a store somewhere, grade it. You could possibly, if it comes in high grade, sell it for quite a bit more than what a usual 9.6 or 9.4 is going for. I'd be curious what a CIB graded price goes for this game, but this is very speculative. You don't see a lot of like collectible games that have multiple games on it, like those anniversary editions, what have you. The one that kind of reminds me of like, okay, that was a pretty good flip, is the Nintendo Switch Final Fantasy 1 through 6. That one goes for quite a bit. They're reprinting it again, I guess. But yeah, I thought this was kind of a cool one to be on the lookout for if you see it. It's really cheap, $20, and preferably try to get it sealed. But this may be one of those games that nostalgia hits, and over time, this could be a nice little flip. Before I go into the next slide, I just want to say thanks again for everyone, your support. And what really helps us in the channel and the network is to hit that like button. It takes about 2 seconds. Do it right now for me. I'd really appreciate it. And then subscribe. I mean, if the more subscribers we get, I may give away more video games. I may give away more comics, or I maybe do a One Piece like pack giveaway. They're so hard to get, though. I don't know if I will. But yeah, the more support I get, the more we'll give away on the channel. I do enjoy doing these shows weekly, so I do appreciate you guys supporting me. And make some comments. Tell me, call me out. Tell me I'm dumb. Say that video game collecting is the lamest thing you ever heard of. Who puts something in a case and then tries to look at it? But it's kind of a trophy in some regard, and I still like doing it. Okay, so kind of starting with the Marvel, or staying with the Marvel kind of stuff here. Spider-Man 3 for PS2. Now there is a sealed version going for 9.8, asking 1,900. I don't know what the census count is on that, but I think it's pretty high. I remember this game was pretty popular on the PS2, right? And I want to say it's one of the last, if not the last, Spider-Man game on PS2 as well. There's a gold version that has like a little slipcase, which I don't really like grading because those slipcases are impossible to get in 9.8 or higher. And I don't know how CGC takes into account the grade of the slipcase. A 9.4 sold for 124 sealed. That's a lot lower than a 9.8 for 1,900. But I feel like if you can get this again for, a pretty good deal, 9.4 getting $124, I feel like you could find 9.6 sealed versions of this PlayStation 2, just as long as it's not loose and just has really tight Y folds on there. But I think the PlayStation 2 games are going to just grow in value over time, just because there's less sealed games of them, and it's a PS2, arguably, in my opinion, was the most. It was ahead of its time, and I think people held on to PS2s for a lot longer. Like, they didn't last very. They lasted a long time, and actually the games probably didn't last very long, just because of the technology and the hardware. So yeah, just kind of an idea for everyone collecting, and I thought that was kind of a fun one. We have about 2 more slides left here. I got 1 more after this. So quick show today, guys. So I appreciate everyone hitting that like button for me and subscribing and doing all that good stuff. So yeah. Cool. All right, Spider-Man 2. This is the PS5 Special Edition. I pre-ordered this for about $250. It was $250 out the gate, obviously, because I paid $250 for it. It comes in a really big box. I have it, but I don't want to take it out. I left it sealed, but there's a statue. If you played the game, there's a statue of Venom fighting Miles and Peter at the same time. It's really cool. I kept it sealed just because I like to keep stuff sealed. I don't know if I'll ever grade it. We'll see. But nonetheless, it's $360 last sold, which I think is pretty healthy. I mean, this game came out, like less than a year ago. And it by far is the best game on PS5. I don't think there's anything else that beats this game as far as playability. I couldn't put the freaking controller down. An alternative for collecting, because the controller goes for a lot of dollars. If you're collecting hardware, I probably want to go for the PS5 version of the console, like over time. I'd probably go with either this guy, or I'd go with the controller. It seems like that is kind of a new wave. Shout out to my boy Trey. He kind of had me taking a look at like special edition controllers. I'm definitely going to start being on the hunt for those, depending on the quality and like what the way they look. But nonetheless, back to this PS5 Special Edition. It's a really cool statue for a really cool game, arguably the best game on PS5. I actually graded my copy of Spider-Man just because I loved it so much. It came out at 9.4. But yeah, I mean, it's loads of fun, this game, for sure. So, and last but not least, a couple of consoles I guys wanted you to take a look at. And I don't know. I think, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII was probably, there's not a lot of people that like this game, but I dug it. I think the problem with PSP was the screen was so damn small. And I think people gravitate a little more to Nintendo DS and Nintendo's handhelds. I mean, they're when it comes to handhelds, Nintendo kills everybody else. But nonetheless, this actually is held up value, $600 for the Crisis Core sealed edition. You're probably going to have to buy it from Japan because I think that's where it came out at. But I've seen it kind of stay steady at that $600 price point. But I mean, you're talking about grading something, VGA, CAS, not CGC at this point, but that would be a beautiful addition to any Final Fantasy VII fan. And then this one was a fun one. Super Set SNES. That's 1,200, not 120. Sorry about that. But I remember when I was a kid growing up, and they had these like combo deals, right? You never really, growing up, you never really had just the console and a controller. You had an option to get a game. Nowadays, they just sell you the console, and then you have to buy the game yourself. Or, I mean, they charge an extra $60 for the game. But back in the day, everyone either got Super Mario World, or I think there's a Zelda version, which might be a little more popular than this one. But I just thought this was a fun set, definitely nostalgic for me. It's very clean. It's got all the parts in it, even the plastic. I mean, how exciting would it be to be able to buy this and just open it up just for that nostalgic feeling, and not even necessarily plugging it in, but just looking at it. I think this actually, and these super sets display really well if you grade it. I've ran into a couple at different cons and shows, and man, I think one day I'm just gonna grab a Super Nintendo set and just grade it. I think that'd be pretty cool, but a lot of money. All right, well, that's the show for today. Again, I always want to thank everyone for their support. We're almost at, I don't know how many subscribers, almost 800 subscribers, I guess, at this point, which is pretty exciting. If you guys, again, I'm going to say it again, hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends. I hope you guys like the new setup. This is a DIY, situation here. So I do appreciate everyone, and take care.